It's the Introvert Dating Success Podcast, the show for introverted men that's all about learning how to attract beautiful women and still get your precious alone time. And now, here's your host, dating coach and fellow introvert, Harry Wilmington.
What up, IDS Mob? It's your boy, Harry Wilmington here, and this is the Introvert Dating Success Show. And I'm doing a late night show because I've been working my butt off. I just got a new job doing some film work at this newspaper place, and it has me wiped out by the end of the day. So I'll probably be doing more night version of these. I don't know. We'll see when this happens. But anyway, so I'm always looking up messages on various boards and things to give you guys stuff that I can answer. So I'll see people ask questions on various boards, and I'll answer them on here because I want you guys to be able to get an education in how I think about dating and different ways that you should consider thinking about dating, the various actions you're doing, and so forth and so on. And so the show we're doing today, you see it's called Get It Through Your Head, Women Hate Texting. And I phrase it like that because I have, between the messages that I get and between the stuff that I see on message boards, and I've been preaching this for years now, is that texting kills attraction. And that the more you're trying to text a woman, the more likely it is that she's going to lose interest over time. Another thing, though, that I've been seeing emerging over the past few years is a situation where a guy will be going out with a woman, and on the dates, they seem to be having a great time, but then the guy is worried because she's not texting him as much as he thinks that she should as a way of showing interest in him. And so the guy gets worried. And so I've been saying for years and years and years now that ultimately women hate texting. And I know you probably hear that and think to yourself, but Harry, that can't be true because I heard that women bond best through communication. And I hear about women wanting to text their boyfriends all the time. Yes, boyfriends. They are open to texting their boyfriends a lot more than a guy that they just met for the first time and have only gone on a couple of dates with. And where a lot of you guys are shooting yourselves in the foot is you're trying to do boyfriend-like texting when you're in the throes of just dating a woman. And one or two dates in with a woman is not enough time to think that you can suddenly take over her texting timeline, okay? You need to be, in that first 3 months, focusing on asking her on a date, getting her to say yes, going her out on a date, showing her a good time, and then leaving her alone until the next time you hit her up. And so what we're going to go over today is the same thing. I've done at least a minimum of 15 videos about texting and the damage that it does and why you shouldn't worry so much if a woman is not texting you all that often in the beginning, and that it's not a bad sign. So with that said, we're going to look over a message today, yet again, of a guy that is having a texting situation. This guy, by the way, is in his 30s. No guy in his 30s should be trying to over text a woman or worry about why it is that she's not responding or trying to reach out to him to do what I call miscellaneous texts, meaning texts during the week that are absolutely about nothing, but it's just to catch up or just to see how I'm doing. And none of those kind of texts are necessary. All right. So let's go ahead and check out this guy's post here. So this is on Reddit, and he said the title of it's called Dealing with a Bad Texter. And it goes something like this. He says, help me make sense of my situation and how I can best approach a resolution in a sensible way. So already he's staking it. Whatever he's about to talk about is a huge, major problem. All right. And so I'm going to stop throughout the course of this and just give my 2 cents. So he says, I, 32, have been seeing a wonderful, let me move this out of the way. There we go. I have been seeing a wonderful 31-year-old female person that I consider a great match. We have similar values, goals, basically the whole package. Ooh, great. We have had four amazing dates, all of which have all felt effortless and authentic. Now, I say that is a good thing because ideally, when you go on a date, you want to be able to make her feel comfortable. You also want to feel comfortable around her, and you want to be doing things on these dates that are only going to build that comfort and trust level. So far, kudos to this guy. He says, though, I don't know how to describe it, but the natural flow when we're in person just makes sense. The problem I'm running into is that she is a bad texter throughout the week. I often don't hear from her for hours, if not a whole day, to a simple message. And the only real conversations we have over text is about planning a next date. What is the freaking problem? There is no problem. You should only be using texting in the beginning when you first start to know a woman to set up dates. The majority of you interacting with her and getting to know her should be on in-person dates. So what the sign is that you should be really looking for is when you ask her out on these dates, is she saying yes and showing up? Is she saying yes and flaking? Or is she saying maybe, which equates to a no? Okay, so you talk to her on the phone, you text her, and you're asking her on a date, and she says yes. Nothing else you do on that phone is going to be important. No conversation you have, no type of rapport building that you're trying to do on this phone is going to be as effective as seeing her in person. Smart women know this and recognize that talking to you on the phone all day isn't going to actually help build up their attraction in you, but seeing you in person will. Okay. Continuing, he says, I often hear from her hours. Okay. That is all to say there is minimal effort over text. And I don't feel like meeting once a week in person will deepen a connection and keep the sparks going. So this is where guys mess up. For one, this guy's projecting because he feels as though seeing her once a week is going to potentially ruin the chances of her building up a real interest in him. Then what he's doing is he's showing fear. He's basically saying, I don't trust that if she doesn't see me or talk to me for more than that one day that we go out, that if I wait a whole week to talk to her, God forbid she has other stuff to do, that she's going to lose interest. And what I'm here to tell you guys is that is pure horse crap. Okay. The reality is this, is that if a woman has a strong or high interest in you, you can take her out on a date, and then you can go 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, 9 days, 2 weeks, a month, 6 months without talking to her. And when you reach back out for that to ask her for another date, a highly interested woman will not only say yes, she will not hold it against you that you didn't talk to her for however long it took you to get back with her. Okay. And this is what you guys don't get. High interest level cuts everything. That's a shout out to Doc Love, rest in peace, who used to say that all the time. Interest level cuts everything. So let's say, for example, this situation, right? He asked her out and they see each other once a week. So maybe she's busy during the week. He's got stuff to do. She's got stuff to do. All right. If it was a problem that she needed to talk to him more than once a week to be attracted, then obviously that would mean that there'd be a problem. But the reality is she's still saying yes to all these dates. So what that means is that in spite of them not seeing each other or necessarily talking to each other a lot during the course of that week, she still has high interest, because a woman that is not high interested after one or two of these once a week dates would fall off. And this is also why it's actually a better idea to only take a woman out once a week, because a woman that has high interest in you isn't going to lose interest off the course of you're not seeing her for a whole week. Okay. But there are women that you could see every other day that would start to lose interest if they didn't have a high interest level to begin with. Okay. So the fact that this woman's saying yes to dates, the fact that she's, waiting to hear from you to be able to say yes to your next idea for a date, fantastic. All this other stuff about, but she's not responding to when I say hi to her or when I want to tell her a funny story, because none of that's important, because that's all stuff that is a distraction. When she's not in front of your face, she has other things that she's keeping her attention on. Family, friends, work stuff, various activities she wants to do. Maybe she's working out. Maybe she has projects she's working on. The point is, this miscellaneous texting that you want her to do is not important. And more importantly, it's not important to how much attraction she feels for you. And this is where a lot of guys mess up. They think that the way a woman feels about them is equivalent to how often she's texting him. Now, as you go through the dating process and she's building up more and more interest, then that might happen where she might start to text a little bit more. But again, what's more important? How often she's texting you, or how good of a time you guys are having when she sees you in person. So according to this guy, when they meet up, everything's fantastic and great. They're having a good rapport. They're joking. They're laughing. So that's all you need to be reading in the beginning, is how well do you guys get along in person? Because this messaging stuff is not a good barometer for how much she feels for you. But a lot of guys think that because they're in their head about, they have this fear that not talking means they're losing interest. And that is not a thing. It'd be one thing if like you try to reach out to her for a date and she didn't answer you back or just straight up ghosted you. But she's not responding to you because you're sending a random ass text, fine. But if she's responding to, let's go on a date, yes, that's a good sign. Continuing, he says, she shows all the interest when we're together, but I need to find a way to communicate my concerns in a way that is non-threatening, putting her on the defensive. No, you don't. You said it yourself. When you guys are together, you're having a bomb time. So that means that whatever read you think you're getting off of her not sending you a message is not a thing. That's you projecting fears onto her. But as far as she's concerned, she's saying, yes, today it's going out with you, probably making out on these dates, having a good time. So therefore, that's what you need to read more so than how many texts you're getting during the course of the week. Continuing, he says, we have had exclusivity talks, but have not slept together, which I'm totally fine with waiting if it makes her comfortable. What can I do or say in the situation? Okay, so look at this. Right here, another place he's messing up. They're already talking about exclusivity. It's been 4 dates. And usually within the first 3 months, a woman is trying to vet a guy. And therefore, she's not usually the one bringing up exclusivity so soon. I've had women that I dated that had a very high interest in me that waited until at least month number 2, like after 2 months of dating, they start bringing up the kind of stuff, okay? But if it's this early on, that means probably by date 3 or 4, exclusivity was brought up. That means more likely than not, he, as the guy, was the one that brought it up. What I tell you guys all the time, on average, it takes a woman 2 to 3 months to solidify her feelings. During that time, you need to not bring up any kind of exclusivity talk or any kind of relationship talk. And how will you know when it's time to bring that up? Easy. You won't have to, because a woman that is highly interested and has built up enough interest to where she realizes that you're a catch and she doesn't want to risk letting you go will bring up exclusivity. Hey, what are we? Are we in a relationship? What should I tell my friends about us? We've been dating for a long time. Where do you think this thing is going? These are things that women say. And this is important, okay? Because this is the part of the feminine way, okay? A woman, it's a woman's job to bring up relationship stuff, okay? That is a feminine ideal. Now, you can blast me all you want to about, but it shouldn't matter. The man should be able to blah, 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 blah. Yes, I agree with you. The man should be able to bring up exclusivity. But what I have found more often than not happens is men bringing up exclusivity is usually too soon. The woman hasn't done all of her vetting, and it more often than not results in a woman's feelings actually lessening because she, or she'll get rid of a guy. And I've heard this before from women where they'll say, well, I like this guy, but because it felt like he had a higher like for me at the time that he asked me to go out with him, and I wasn't quite there yet, I felt the only fair thing to do was to get rid of him. So you guys are shooting yourself in the foot by asking these women out because you know we're more intense people, okay? So as guys, after 2 or 3 dates, we already want the woman. This guy's already bringing up exclusivity after date 2 or 3, okay? But you have to go at the woman's pace for relationship stuff. The sex stuff, you're all there, okay? By date 2 or 3, you know, you got to initiate the kissing. You got to initiate the, hey, let's go back to your place, back to my place. You got to initiate the moves that lead to the bedroom. Yes, she's a willing participant and you're looking for signals from her that indicate that she's ready for that step, but they're still waiting for you to actually make the moves to do that stuff, okay? So the physical hookup part, that's all us. The relationship part, that's them. You wait until they come to you before you start having a discussion about relationships, okay? Now, to be fair to this guy, at the last part of this message, he says, Edit, I talked to her about it, and she positively responded that she will make more of an effort to keep in touch throughout the week. Thanks all. But here's the thing, okay? She agreed to that because, and my guess is, to be honest, most women, they like to be agreeable. Like, they don't want to cause fights. They don't want the guy to feel bad. So sometimes they'll agree to do stuff and then hope that you just don't recognize that they're not doing it, or they'll begrudgingly agree and they'll do it for a little bit, but then they realize that it wasn't something they wanted to do. On top of him, asking her to do this thing, it can make her feel as though he's already more seriously invested into this than she is at this point in time after 4 dates. And so she might start to back off after a while and then ghost this guy. Now, we don't know, because this is just written. So only time will tell if I hope there's an update to this to see if they end up lasting long-term or if not. But the point is that she may have felt obligated to say that she'll do that to not hurt his feelings, even if that's not something she wants to do. Hopefully she actually does want to like the guy. And maybe she just was like, didn't recognize that he wanted her to text a bit more. Maybe she was holding back because maybe in her past, she used to overtext guys. And that can be a thing too, where, sometimes women overtext and then guys reject them. And so they think, okay, I'm going to pull back a little bit. So who knows? I pray and hope that this works out great. All I'm saying is the probability is that she's feeling forced to do this and it's not going to work long-term. Okay. And this is why, guys, you need to apply patience to your game and recognize that for the most part, you thinking you have to do all this texting in order to keep a woman attracted is not a thing. I've had more women, between women friends of mine and women that have written to me saying, hey, these guys that are dating me are over texting me. How do I get it to stop? How do I not hurt this guy's feelings by telling him that as much as I like getting to know him, hearing from him every hour of the day, getting his good morning text, his how you doing text, his rambling text about nothing just to try to build a rapport are actually annoying to me, okay? And you can do this yourself. Hey, ask women, hey, when you're first getting to know a guy and he's texting you day after day, how does that make you feel? Or the last time that you dated some guy that was texting you a lot, what ended up happening with that relationship, okay? And see what they tell you, because, and especially ask your women friends this, okay? Because women that you're dating right now will probably not give you an honest answer. But I can assure you that the majority of women, when they first start getting to know a guy, they're wanting to get to know him more so in person and less on texting and messaging and all these other various apps, okay? This goes for you guys that are trying to do like Snapchat and Instagram messaging, like, oh, I'm going to build. No, let's say you use that to get the date, okay? You use Snapchat, Instant Messenger, whatever, to be able to get a woman to agree to go out with you that you have not met before. Fine. After you meet her in person, this is when you need to cut back on the texting, except for when it's time to ask her out. Because I'm promise you, just because you met her in a way where you're messaging doesn't mean that she wants to keep that up once you've actually gone out, okay? Even you guys are on dating apps. I always had great success on dating apps. And what would happen was I would match with the woman, and then we would message each other back and forth until I proposed a date. And then at the point where we would go out on dates, I would stop messaging them on the dating apps altogether, and I would only hit them up on their phone if I was trying to ask them out on another date. And let me tell you, I have yet to have a woman complain to me that I wasn't texting enough and that she lost interest. I have had women that I texted too much and they started to wane and ghost and stop talking to me altogether. So given those two experiences, which one do you think I'm going to suggest that you do? I'm going to suggest the one where it looks like you have other things to do with your life and that you're chasing your purpose, but you're reaching out to her to be part of that purpose by texting her only to get a date to see her in person. But the rest of the time, leave it alone. I've done too many shows and talked to too many people and experienced too many things where texting goes wrong. And the one thing that I've learned from it is that you need to get it through your head that women hate texting, especially in the beginning. So stop doing it. It is not helping you. I'm sorry. I'm just tired of doing these shows where I keep talking about texting. Like, dudes, get it through your heads, guys. Like, really, you really don't. You really, really don't have to continuously text a woman in order to keep her attracted. All right. So hopefully that gets through to your head. For more of these shows, go to introvertdatingsuccess.com. Go to my YouTube page at youtube.com/Harry Wilmington. Show your support for the show by clicking on the tip jar tab on my website, introvertdatingsuccess.com, and go there for my ebooks, audiobooks, and programs. all designed to help you date as your introverted self while still getting your precious alone time. And yes, I even got a book there on the right ways and the wrong ways to text women. So for you guys that keep having this texting trouble, go to the website and figure it out. All right? That's all I got. I'm Harry Wilmington, and I'll catch you guys on the next show. I'm out. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Introvert Dating Success Podcast. Visit us at introvertdatingsuccess.com for more great tips on attracting women using your natural introvert charm. Oh, yeah.